Welcome to the Rebel Leader Podcast, Shattering the Status Quo. Brought to you by the Strategic Advisor Board. Hosted by Dr. Joshua Ducharme, a leader with over 20 years of experience in education. Where bold educational leaders share their stories of breaking the mold and transforming schools and communities. If you're ready to become a rebel leader and shatter the status quo in education, let's dive in.
Hey, are you looking to scale your business from 5 figures to 6 figures or 6 figures to 7 figures? If you are, I have the perfect thing for you. What I want you to do today is I want you to go download a book. This book is going to take you through my 3-pillar system. It's 100% free. All you have to do is go to growfast.cash. I say again, go to growfast.cash and you're going to be able to download my free international best-selling book, which is called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. You can take that book. It's going to help you scale your business to the next level. Again, go download it. Be good, be brief, be gone. Growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash. Enjoy.
Hey there, Rebel Leaders. Welcome back to the podcast where we break the mold and redefine what it means to lead with courage and conviction. Now, today's episode is a little different from the usual lineup of amazing guest interviews, but trust me, you're going to love this twist. We're kicking off something special. Bite-sized episodes packed with insights, strategies, and actionable tips to help you become a stronger, bolder, and better school leader. Think of these as your leadership power-ups, dropping in between our incredible guest conversations to keep you inspired and on your toes. So, grab your coffee, hit that volume up, and let's dive into today's rebel-worthy insight. Because if you're here, you're ready to shake things up. And I'm here to help you do just that.
Welcome to the Rebel Leader Podcast, Shattering the Status Quo. Brought to you by the Strategic Advisor Board. Hosted by Dr. Joshua Ducharme, a leader with over 20 years of experience in education. Where bold educational leaders share their stories of breaking the mold and transforming schools and communities. If you're ready to become a rebel leader and shatter the status quo in education, let's dive in.
Leadership. It's one of those words we throw around so often that it risks losing its meaning. And yet for those of us in education, we know that leadership is not just a buzzword. It's the backbone of everything we do. It's the difference between a school that thrives and one that struggles. Between a staff that feels inspired and one that feels defeated. Between students who excel and those who fall through the cracks. Leadership at its core is about people. It's about trust. Recently, I watched an interview with Simon Sinek, where he shared a story about the Navy SEALs. He talked about how the SEALs evaluate their team members. They measure 2 things, performance and trust. Performance is about capability. Who's the fastest? Who's the strongest? The smartest and the most skilled in their craft? Trust, on the other hand, it's about character. Who do you trust with your life? Who will do the right thing when no one is watching? You see, what's fascinating is that the SEALs don't always pick the highest performers for their elite teams. In fact, they often prefer mid-level performers who demonstrate high trust over high performers with low trust. Think about that for a moment. Even in the world's most elite, high-stakes teams, where performance can mean life or death, trust reigns supreme. And I couldn't help but think about our schools. In many ways, our schools are like the Navy SEALs. Seriously. The stakes might not be physical, life or death, but they are about shaping the future, impacting generations, ensuring that every student is equipped to lead a meaningful life. And yet, how often do we evaluate our leaders, principals, department heads, administrators solely on their performance metrics? Test scores, graduation rates, budget management, you name it. But what about trust? We've all seen it, haven't we? The high-performing leader who's brilliant on paper, but leaves a trail of broken relationships, burnt out teachers, disengaged students. The list goes on. They hit their targets, but at what cost? The culture of their school is marked by fear, competition, and a lack of collaboration. And then there's the other type of leader, the one who maybe doesn't have the flashiest numbers, but creates a culture of trust and connection. Teachers want to work for them. Students feel safe in their schools. Parents know their concerns will be heard. These leaders might not always make the headlines, but they're the ones that make a difference. Let me pause here to share a story. A few years ago, I met a principal who was brought in to turn around a struggling school. We'll call him Mr. Jackson. On paper, he was a perfect hire. Stellar resume, history of improving test scores, glowing recommendations. And within his first year, the numbers did improve. Test scores ticked up, attendance rates climbed, the district was thrilled. But behind closed doors, the reality was quite different. Teachers were leaving in droves. Staff morale was at an all-time low. Students reported feeling more anxious than ever. Mr. Jackson had achieved high performance, but he'd done so by micromanaging his staff, dismissing their concerns, instilling a culture of fear, which is all too common in what we see in schools today. His school looked great on paper, but it was falling apart at the seams. Contrast that with another leader I knew. We would call her Miss Rivera. Her school wasn't perfect. Test scores were average, and there were plenty of challenges. But her staff loved working for her. She took the time to get to know them on a personal level, not just as teachers, but as people. She celebrated their successes. She supported them through tough times, made sure they knew she had their backs. Students adored her because she was present in the hallways, at their games, listening to them. Over time, her school didn't just improve academically, it thrived. Teachers stayed longer, student behavior improved, and the community rallied around the school. Now, Ms. Rivera wasn't perfect, but she led with trust, and that made all the difference. Here's the hard truth. Many of the issues plaguing our schools today aren't rooted in a lack of performance. They're rooted in a lack of trust. Think about teacher retention. One of the biggest challenges we as leaders face. Why do teachers leave? It's not always about pay, though that is certainly a factor. It's often about feeling undervalued, unsupported, and unheard. It's about a lack of trust in leadership. And what about students? When students act out, disengage, or struggle academically, it's not always because they lack ability. It's often because they don't feel seen or understood. Trust, or the lack thereof it, is at the heart of so many of our educational challenges. So what does this mean for us as leaders in education? How do we balance performance and trust? I believe it starts with redefining what we value. For so long, the narrative in education has revolved around performance metrics, standardized test scores, graduation rates, college acceptance numbers, even the speed at which we solve logistical issues like scheduling or budget constraints. These things matter. Performance matters. Results matter. We can't ignore data or outcomes, especially when they're tied to funding, accountability, and the futures of our students. But here's the critical question. At what cost are we achieving those results? Are we burning out our teachers by demanding more and more without giving them the support they need? Are we alienating students by focusing so heavily on measurable outcomes that we overlook their emotional and social needs? Are we creating schools that look successful on paper, but feel hollow to the people who work and learn in them? If so, then we as educational leaders have to ask ourselves if we're truly succeeding, or if we're just checking boxes.
Looking to grow your business beyond 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures plus, what I want you to do is go download this book. The title is called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. It will help you grow your business past 5, 6, and 7 figure. Go download the book today, growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash, and download the book for absolutely free.
Prioritizing trust doesn't mean abandoning performance. It means understanding that trust is the foundation upon which sustainable performance is built. High performance without trust is fragile. It cracks under pressure. It collapses in the face of adversity. But when trust is present, performance becomes resilient. People go above and beyond, not because they're afraid of the consequences if they don't, but because they feel supported and empowered to do so. And so let's talk about what it takes to build that kind of trust. It's not about flashy, one-time gestures, although we do love a good pizza party. Trust is built slowly through consistent actions over time. It's built when teachers see their principal advocating for smaller class sizes because they know it will help them do their jobs better. It's built when an administrator takes the time to listen to a student who's struggling, even if it means running late for their next meeting. It's built when a leader says, I don't know the answer to this, but I'm committed to figuring it out with you. For leaders, this also means to shift our mindset. So often we equate leadership with control, with having all the answers, making all the decisions, being the person who sets the vision and expects everyone else to follow in line. But real trust-based leadership, it's collaborative. It's about empowering others to lead alongside you. It's about creating a culture where people feel safe to innovate, to challenge the status quo, to make mistakes and learn from them. This isn't easy. It requires humility. It requires vulnerability. It requires courage. Because let's be honest, leading with trust doesn't always lead to immediate wins. Sometimes it means pushing back against a directive from the district office because it doesn't align with your school's values. Sometimes it means investing in relationships with your staff and students, even when it feels like there are a million more urgent tasks on your to-do list. And sometimes it means being willing to fail in the short term so you can succeed in the long term. Here's an example of what that looks like in action. I once heard about a superintendent who was tasked with improving literacy rates across their district. The easiest path would have been to implement a one-size-fits-all program, push for immediate compliance, track results obsessively. Instead, this leader started by actually sitting down with teachers in every single school, asking them what they thought the barriers to literacy were. They listened, they collaborated, they trusted their teachers to be part of the solution. It took longer than a top-down approach, but the results were transformative. Literacy rates improved. They did, but so did teacher morale. So did student engagement. And why was that? Because trust was built first and performance followed. This is the kind of leadership that our schools need. Leadership that asks, what do my people need to feel supported and valued? Leadership that understands trust isn't a soft skill, it's a hard necessity. Leadership that recognizes the journey is just as important as the destination. And here's the thing. When you prioritize trust, you're not just building better schools, you're building better leaders. Teachers who feel trusted and empowered, they will model that trust and empowerment for their students. Students who will experience a culture of trust will carry that with them into their futures, into their relationships, into their own careers, and that ripple effect is immeasurable. So, are we willing to make that shift? Are we willing to prioritize trust, even if it means sacrificing short-term gains for the long-term impact? Because the truth is, we don't just need leaders who can deliver results. We need leaders who can build trust. Leaders who understand that a school's greatest asset isn't its test scores or its budget, it's its people. And when we take care of our people, the results will follow. If we really want to transform our schools, we need to transform our approach to leadership. We need to stop rewarding high performance at the expense of trust. We need to start valuing the leaders who prioritize relationships, who inspire loyalty and collaboration, who build cultures where everyone, teachers, students, and staff feel safe to take risks and grow. Imagine a school where teachers feel safe to try new teaching methods because they trust their principal will support them, even if they fail. Imagine a school where students feel seen and heard because their leaders trust in the importance of relationships. Imagine a school where parents trust the staff because communication is open, it's honest, and compassionate. That's the kind of school I want to see. That's the kind of leadership we need. So, I want to leave you with this challenge. If you're a school leader, ask yourself, am I building trust? And if you're not in leadership position, ask, do I trust my leaders? Because trust isn't just a nice to have thing. It's the foundation of everything. It's what separates a school that merely functions from a school that truly thrives. And if the Navy SEALs can prioritize trust in the high-stakes world of combat, surely we can do the same in the high-stakes world of education.
Thanks for listening to the Rebel Podcast, Shattering the Status Quo, sponsored by Strategic Advisor Board with new episodes each week. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Hey, we all want to scale our business. Hey, I have the answer for you today to help you do that. If you're looking to scale from 5, 6, even 7 figures and beyond, book called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. I'm going to give it to you for free. All you have to do is type in growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash, and you can download the book for absolutely free. I hope the book helps you this year. Take your business to the next level. Again, go grab the book, growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash. I wish you the best and grow, scale, and win.
Thanks for listening to the Rebel Podcast, Shattering the Status Quo, sponsored by Strategic Advisor Board with new episodes each week. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode.
There it is. Magnum. Holy moly.
Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for!
Dear God.